What's going on, y'all? Welcome to FG Unleashed. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm glad you guys watched that last video, man. It was crazy because the video had been around for years. I hadn't seen it in years. So when I dug it out the archives to go post it, man, it hit me again like it was just yesterday, man. So I really appreciate y'all for tuning in to that video, man. We're going to take a journey that was my first day, my first 2 hour pass at the halfway house. You know what I mean? So we gonna take it from there. We gonna move along. I'm gonna jump back, but we gonna have some interesting topics. We gonna end up going live. You guys could ask me some questions, about certain things. But we gonna keep this thing going all the way up until today's date. Then talk about the bullshit that's still going on today. So I never forget on that 2 hour pass, man. You only got 2 hours. You trying to get out. Get you some hygiene, get you some socks and underwear and all that type of stuff, because it's a new journey, and it's crazy because you're out, you're free, but you're not, so, you got to do what these people say, go where they say go, you got to get a pass. Anytime you leave the facility, you got to get a pass. Now the Garden Grove halfway house in Garden Grove, California, if anybody ever been to that halfway house, it's an apartment building. But you locked in, gated, electric gates, but it's actually an apartment building. So when you come out the apartment building, you're actually in a residential neighborhood, so it gives you the feeling that you're free, but technically you're not. So I never forget on that 2 hour pass, that was my first one. And where we go to, money was low. So it wasn't no Gucci and Fendi or none of that. It was TJ Maxx, Ross, Marshalls, so we stopped by IHOP. Get something to eat, man. I want some fluffy pancakes, man. I want some real bacon, you know what I mean? Sausages and shit. So we go to IHOP. I never forget sitting at the table and my daughter's, I tell my daughter, I say, pass the syrup. She looked at me, she looked around, looked at her mom. So tell them, I say, man, pass the syrup. And they looking around. So I'm like, is it something that like they have to get her approval to, answer me? I was a little confused, you know what I mean? So my wife grabbed the syrup and give it to me. And I never forget, my daughter said, oh, the syrup. And I never heard it called syrup before, you know what I mean? And I quickly found out that, when I eventually got to the house and a couple, you get the 1 day pass, then you get the 2 day pass where you can go spend a night at your house when you're in the halfway house. And so I tell my daughter, hey, bring me a towel, and she looked around and, hey, bring me a towel. And she was like, what's that, Daddy? You know what I mean? And I looked at her mom and my wife laughing, rolling. So my wife go in there and give me a towel. And my daughter said, oh, a towel, and a towel. I've never heard that before. So once they brushed me up on my proper English and shit, you know what I mean? We had a great communication after that, man. But that was funny, But that halfway house was a struggle, man, because you 1 foot in, you 1 foot out. Society is right there out that gate right there, man. You got so many, hopes and dreams and shit that you got planned, but these people won't let you go do it. You know what I mean? Only time they was going to give you a pass to go to church, maybe a 2 hour pass. If you had everything else was about going out getting a job, everything else was going out trying to, get your life together. And one thing we could get a pass for is to go to like the work development center, and you go down there and you get online and you fill out applications for different places, and they try to place you in jobs, you know what I mean? And so I'm trying to transition, getting my passes, going to work for, filling out applications. And one of my homies, dear to my heart, man, I'm talking about dear to my heart, get killed in a car accident, and I'm talking about this was my dog, my homie Guest Man, and anybody that know Guest Man know that was my dog, you know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? And I'm just fresh in the halfway house, Now the problem with that, well, not the problem, but the issue was that is before I left, me and Guest Man was dear homies. But we had an argument before I left. We had a pretty heated argument. And and we wasn't seeing eye to eye. Now we was friends for life. We was homies for life. We was dogs for life. That wasn't even in question. But as y'all know, shit, all of us get into it with your homies, your best friend, your uncle, your brother, you know. So when I left, we had a heated situation, and we hadn't spoken. You know what I mean? So when you go and do all that time and you come back home, you know, and you thinking about all the people who, you know, had your back while you was gone, all the people who sent you a letter or a picture or something, you know what I mean? And me and Gasman hadn't spoken. Now, one thing I can say that, you know, I ran into homies that came to prison after me, you know what I mean? And was like, man, I ran into your homie Gasman, man. He told me you was up here, you know. One thing about it, or somebody asked me, but man, what's up with your homie Guess? Man, that's my dog, homie. That's the homie. Even though we was at odds just a little bit, you know what I mean, and wasn't seeing eye to eye, wasn't no talking down on each other. It was straight up. The love was there. We just had a disagreement. And in a halfway house, man, and Guess man passed away, man, and they have his viewing in Compton. Now, mind you, I'm supposed to get a pass to go to the Workforce Development Center, pass to go to church, things of this nature. You know what I mean? Garden Grove is a significant amount of ways, you know, 30, 40 minutes away from Compton. I'm damn sure not supposed to be there, you know what I mean? But when they do the viewing, it just so happened on the day that I was able to get a pass, you know what I mean? And to the Workforce Development Center, man. And here go my first step home, coming home, you know, all the promises that I promised to my wife, my kids, you know what I mean? And now here's my first situation, you know what I mean? As far as, you know, not breaking the law, but I'm still under BOP custody, but breaking the law, basically, you know what I mean? And the terms of the conditions of, you know, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, you know what I mean? So they had the viewing on Compton Boulevard down in at a mortuary on Compton Boulevard between Santa Fe and Alameda. Now, the thing about it wasn't no way in the world, man, that I was gonna miss going to, you know, make this right with my homeboy, you know, going to see my homeboy for the last time that I didn't get a chance to see. I mean, if I'd have got home a week earlier, you know what I mean, I would have been able to, you know, me and Guess Man would have made that right, you know what I mean? Because like I say, me and Guess Man was thick as Steve. This was my dog. I mean, you talking about riding? Guess Man was a rider, man. I'm talking about I got 100 stories about Guess Man, man. You know, I never forget one time, Guess Man say, man, I got some bras, man, gonna meet us at the beach. I'm like, homie, what's happening? You know what I mean? So he said, well, look, I'm over here in Kelly Park, come scoop me up. I'm like, shit, I'm on my way. He got a car, but fuck it, we gonna roll on these Daytons and shit, you know what I mean? And so I go scoop him up and shit. He come out to the car, he like, look, I just got a new Uzi. I'm like, oh, that motherfucker beautiful, you know what I mean? So this is a story from back in the day, just telling you a story about Guess Man. So he said, you want me to bring it? I'm like, hell, shit, come on, let's roll. So we rolling down the street. I said, man, that motherfucker even work? You know what I mean? Guess Man rolled down the window. Yeah, it works pretty good, homie. You know what I mean? And I said, this dude right here. And we smashed to the beach, had a good time, man. But Guess Man was, you talking about hilarious? A hilarious gangster. You know what I mean? He's gonna have your stomach hurting, homie, but he was with all the shit. So anyway, I put in my pass for my workforce development. I go to the workforce development, get my little time card stamped. And that was the first rule I broke, you know, right there in the halfway house, man. I jumped in my car, smashed the Compton, you know what I mean? Not only was I, like I say, breaking my BOP rules, you know what I mean? This mortuary is right on Compton Boulevard between Santa Fe and Alameda. And if anybody know where that at, right by Marathon Burgers, that's Santana Block, you know? So it wasn't just going to see the homie. It's, man, these Tanners is right here. And, you know, homies be deep at these mortuaries and these viewings. You know, I know the homies going to be out there in red. And, you know, the Tanners are, you know, pretty serious Crip gang, no doubt. You know what I mean? So I got a couple issues. You know what I mean? Now I got to worry about shit. Anybody out here got a pistol? I mean, we just putting our life on the line. But on everything I love, I was going to see Guess Man, homie. And I went in there and I saw him. And when I walked through the door, you know, you don't realize that in the streets, when you leave prison, to go to prison rather, you somebody in your neighborhood. You know, when I left at the time, I was a general in Cross Atlantic, you know. And so when you come home, you thinking you changed in your mind and your heart. You told your kids and your family that, you know, you changing and in a way you did. But when I jumped out that car and I seen all the homies that I hadn't seen in, 8 years, 2 months, 20 days, it was different, because I felt I changed on the inside. They didn't change. They didn't feel that I changed. You know what I mean? And so soon as they see me, it's all hugs and love. I'm really sneaking to come pay my respects. That's all I'm trying to come do. But the homies on something different. Immediately come up to me, man. The homie got shot over here. We got this. I mean, soon as they see me, it's like the homie walk right back up to me and hand me the keys to the set. You know what I mean? Like, welcome home, homie. I know you gonna continue to finish running this shit like you ran it. Nah, homie, I'm not. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying this because I'm just in awe, just like, dude, I've been gone all this time and ain't nobody, this what y'all talking about? You know what I mean? And I go in there and see Guest family, man, and the way they smiled when I walked in. They know I was in a situation. They know I just got out. They knew I wasn't supposed to be there because the homies that told them F might not make it because the situation he in, when I went in that mug, they knew that I put it on the line to come see my homie, and I went in there and I saw him, and I told the homie I love him and I apologized to him, man, even though I wasn't wrong, but I didn't feel I was wrong, you know what I mean, for what we got into, man. It hurt me to see the homie laying up there like that, and there's nothing you can do because it was a car accident, you know what I mean? So when I walked back out, like I say, the homies was on me, you know what I mean? Homie F, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, you know what I mean? And it was all love, but it was like they wanted me to put it right back on the line right now, today. You know what I mean? And then I seen, it was crazy. You know what I mean? And so I went back to the halfway house and I made it back. I didn't get caught, didn't get in trouble. I laid down in my room and it's like, wow, this shit just don't stop in the hood. You know what I mean? It don't stop, So, luckily I made it out, man, I made it back to didn't get in trouble, man, because like I say, I got a whole future ahead of me. I got a family that I need to help support, and you know what I mean, and it was crazy, you know what I mean, but stay tuned for more. Look, we got a lot coming, man. We got in prison stories, we got out of prison stories. We gonna go to these live meetings, and you guys get to ask some questions, and we gonna keep this thing rolling. This is just a preview of the a day in the life of FG. Coming home is transition back to the streets. You know what I mean? Because it was definitely wasn't as easy as people might think it is. You guys stay tuned, man, and much love, major respect.